one of the legacy challenges that I was dealing with was there was no legacy. There was no previous me or previous parking programs manager. Um, like I mentioned before, everything was fragmented. And another challenge that I was dealing with was now that I was coming in and I was trying to learn how to build a parking program, a lot of the legacy staff members that were managing different functions in different departments were retiring. So all that knowledge was just lost. Um, in some cases, it's really difficult to kind of try and learn from the ground up. In another sense, you kind of also try to look at it as an opportunity to develop and build something new, a blank slate. So again, sometimes it could be a real challenge and a real headache to have brain drain when somebody retires or leaves the company or an organization. But at the same time, some opportunity for you to kind of build something up for yourself or a new operation or program that you can build. I think another thing that's worth mentioning is sometimes there's some inconsistencies within leadership. For example, what I was dealing with was there were multiple different people that left my city as soon as I came in. I lost my manager within 6 months of being a parking programs manager. So everything that I worked with him, kind of, I didn't know what my new manager wanted. I didn't know if he had a different goal or a different roadmap that he wanted me to follow now that I no longer had the manager that I hired on with. So learning to be dynamic is another important thing that I had to learn and be nimble on my feet. What about you, Christy?
Is really the reputation of our previous parking superintendent. As I mentioned, Wayne was a well-respected and known name in the parking industry, and he had a lot of experience and was very knowledgeable. And he was actually the CPPA past president. And so those were really big shoes for me to fill, and trying to figure out how to even compare at that level or being able to meet at that level, and the expectations on me for what he left behind, for the contributions he had made. And then also, in addition to losing his leadership and the reputation and his reputation as well, is the loss of leadership that I had with my director and the city manager, and still having to run the parking program, make those improvements, be progressive, and do that with really no guidance or leadership, as we were on our own, basically out to sea by ourselves. Like we didn't report to any director at the time. So during that time, it just required me to keep things going. And one of the challenges is that I just didn't have that background or that institutional knowledge from previous leaders, because they had all left. So that was a lot to overcome and keep running.